Yo, what's up? In this video, I will be talking about the observation of production managers in a working environment. Since I posted my first video, I've been taking, notes on my own production manager skills, a year one production manager for my college, as well as an external production manager that I know. This video will be used to see if the previous videos of talking about skills a PM needs, as well as the interviews, are actually being used by production managers in a production setting. This video will also help to show that different levels of PMs will have different skill sets. I know that's a very obvious statement, but I'd still like to see how big of a gap in skills each of us have, and if the lacking skills are all in the same category or not. So for the past few weeks, I've been observing the year one class at my college. I've been involved with the production planning meetings as well as seeing the groups work live. The timeline of this observation was 1 week observing the class in a meeting, and then coming back a week later to see how the issues within the previous meeting were resolved. And then finally, the week after that, I observed them during their practical lesson. However, I did not just observe one production manager in this class. As there were 4 production teams, it meant that there were 4 PMs, and I decided it would be best to observe all 4 of them rather than just the one, so I can see a wide range of data. I will, however, take all the data from all 4 groups and smash them into one data set, taking the most common issues and skills. This way I can shorten the video and also rule out any anomalies which might be to do with personal skills. In the first meeting, I took some very basic notes. As this was the first production meeting, a lot of the documentation side was lacking, but that was expected. However, I did observe that all the teams had efficiency and conciseness with delegation of paperwork and elements of the production pack that needed to get done. As well as this, they showed an open-mindedness to new ideas and suggestions about how to run things. I think these 2 skills are very important to have from the start, as they can play heavily in how the production runs. In the second meeting, however, I could see some gaps in what I had seen in the previous week. Whilst in the first week they did have efficiency, good communication, and the mutual respect between PMs and practitioners, that seemed to be lacking this week. During this planning phase, the PM should have everyone's attention during the meeting, and once it's over, should be able to tell the team to get on with their respective pieces of work for the production pack. However, this did not happen. 1 or 2 groups would set planning material, and instead of it getting done in the class whilst they had time, they said they were going to do it when they got home, even though they had all available resources to do it in the class. I think this can be easily rectified. The production managers were a little more firm with their team and found a place and a time to be funny and everyone's friend, and when they need to put their foot down and get work done. Another thing I realized during this observation is that whilst the teams do have an open-mindedness and accept new ideas, they don't realize when an idea should be binned and won't work out practically. This next bit isn't to call anyone out, but to explain my point. During the meeting, someone had the plan to run cables a little differently. The way they wanted to do this is by taking all the cables on stage left and running off the stage into a stage box called stage left, and then the same for the right side. Whilst this does seem like a good idea on paper, you have to realize that if an external practitioner came in to help, they'd be very confused, as the stage box won't have the standard 1 to 10 inputs, but instead it'll be a jumble of input numbers which aren't consecutive like the patch list. This is where the PM could have suggested that this was a good idea but not the best practically, especially if you have a team helping you. This is where the PM could have suggested that this was a good idea but not the best practically, especially if you have a team helping you, as it's easier to have one person run the cables how the other 6 people run it on the team, rather than teach 6 people how to do cables this one specific way and hope that they get it right. Then finally, I had the practical observation. This would be an 8-hour observation session of their practical lesson where I get to see PM's technical ability, but also how they deal with issues that arise. I'll try and keep this bit short, as I've already droned on for long enough, but the skills I saw in use were that the PM had good communication and explained to the assistant PM what needed to be done, and also they showed a good technical ability to help out with their team. I saw this when they were helping the rigging section, also when they were talking about lights to the lighting operator. However, I believe the skills that were missing are as follows. Delegation of jobs could have been better. You could have had your lighting team rig so that PM can focus on other areas, not just lighting. The PM could have rigged some lights but not all of them, or if not all of them, at least not half of them. The overall skills within the managerial side and the transferable side could have also been better. Being present for all your team members and not just a select few can boost the community and the relationships within your team, which can lead to an easier time during the setup and the production. Finally, the last skill I wanted to bring up was time management. Whilst I think the PM had good time management at the start of the day, it seemed to slip once staging and lighting got set up, which then led to the team falling behind and not working as quickly. Overall, this is sort of what I expected. I expected that the PMs would have a basic understanding of production and the technical side, but be lacking within the social and managerial side, as they are usually skills you learn once you've been managing for a little bit and realize that certain aspects need to be more controlled than the tech side. Whilst I have only been managing for a little while, I believe I've been able to get a firm grasp around the subject and learnt what it means to be a PM. Obviously, however, I still have some skill flaws. The skills that I have are as follows. I know my strengths and weaknesses of my practitioners and know how to delegate the jobs appropriately. I check on what's happening on my team to ensure that they stay on track and on time. I also have respect of my team, I'm organised, a people person, and I'm also firm but fair. And finally, I trust my techs. These skills mentioned are all from the interviews and ones that I agree with. I think one of the skills I need to improve on is thinking under pressure. Whilst I can do it to a competent level, I believe that I can improve it, as it usually makes the rest of my day a lot worse due to overthinking about it. As well as this, I can often become more blunt in my responses and may come off as not respectable. The other skill that I need to improve on is my positive affirmation and feedback towards my team. Whilst I do give my practitioners positive feedback on their work, I believe it can come off as sarcastic and lose its meaning. I believe that if I improve that, I can improve the team morale. Finally, the next skills I need to improve on is the legislation side of things and ensuring that I understand the laws and rules of production so that I can ensure that my team are working safely but comfortably. As well as this, it means that not only my team stays safe, but also the audience and anyone else involved. In the external production manager's observation, I'd noticed that they had quite a lot of the skills I'd mentioned in the skills video, as well as knowing the legislation and ensuring their team was safe. They had a good amount of managerial skills, transferable skills, and due to them coming from a sound background, they also had very good technical skills, but not only in the sound department. I think the one skill I can think of that could be improved, however, is the skill of allowing more control to the team. I'm not saying that they don't allow this, but when it comes to new designs, the PM themselves said they try to make the design more to something they want and less of what the person is imagining, which I personally believe is understandable, as we all have a certain idea and imagination of what the gig should look like. So I'd label this skill as open-mindedness to new ideas. I know this observation was shorter compared to the other two, but I don't think I need to go into much depth about the skills they are good at due to the amount they have. As well as this, if you do want to see what skills a high-end or well-experienced production manager should have, then you can just watch the skills needed video. I think in terms of my expectations, this did meet my expectations. I expected that the skill sets would be varying from small, medium, and large compared to the new PM, the amateur PM, and the experienced PM. However, the one thing that did not meet my expectations is what skills were missing. I thought that we'd all be at varying levels of one skill group. For example, the year 1 production manager's managerial and transferable skills weren't as good as their technical skills. Well, I thought this would be the same for me and the external production manager. However, my manager skills and transferable skills are pretty good, as well as that for the external PM. Granted, they could be better, but they're pretty good at the level that they are. I think I got these results because the year 1 production managers haven't had that much experience within production management, which isn't a bad thing, but it means that they haven't got that experience of things going wrong or issues happening for no reason. As well as this, they've only known their teams for a little while, whilst the external PM and I have known our teams for more than a year. However, I believe the year 1 production managers will become great PMs once they have more experience. These results and videos back up what I've been saying through one of my previous videos. In the skills needed video, I said that a PM needs at least a few handful of the skills from each category to a competent level to ensure a gig runs smoothly, and the higher the level of skill, then the smoother it should hypothetically run, and I saw that during my observations. As well as this, the interviews showed to me that the skills the experienced practitioners strive for in their PMs are the skills missing in the lower level PMs. So from here, a question that might be asked is, well, what can I do with this information? Well, what can happen with this info is I can now bunch all of my research from this video and my previous videos into one set of data and put them into my next video and give you the boiled down basics of what a PM needs. So that's this video pretty much over, and it wasn't as long as my previous ones, but it was to shed a light onto the different levels of production managers and how they might affect the production if they don't have certain skills. The next video will be my last, and that will draw this series to an end and hopefully give you some form of idea of what makes a good production manager. Thanks for watching, and I guess I'll see you.